This is a video response from Merchant Play, and the latest video, Everyone's a Hero. I do agree, even though if you look at my past clips where I've said that characters are not necessarily the hero, the point which you've made here quite clearly is that during play, the characters are what play is about. It would be hard to imagine it not be unless the Game Master were just rambling on and on with exposition. But the point that you've made, which I find particularly compelling, particularly in how I run my own games, is that these characters, these protagonists, do not necessarily matter as much as other characters in the grand scheme of the story that develops. Now, they may come to hold that position, but that depends on what they do in play. And I like this idea that the world is much broader than the characters. And in fact, I find that when Game Masters are first starting out, that a lot of play focuses so tightly and so myopically on the player characters, it's as if they are the only people in the entire world. Nothing happens that they do not get involved in, and nothing important is going on which they are not involved in. And the evolution away from that, I think, is an evolution toward better gaming. The blind spot that can develop if you are planning stories for your players is exactly this, that they can take on such a role of importance to the unfolding story that without them, the story cannot exist. And this is something that I try very hard to avoid, and one of the things that pushed me toward a play style where we all discover the story in play, the emerging story, where events are planned based on character agenda, but outcomes are not planned, and we all discover those outcomes together. Now, one of those outcomes might be that the entire set of original characters perishes long before the campaign comes to an end. And I find it's a strength among players to be able to form as much attachment to the story as they can to the characters. Not everyone can do this, though, and it would be really interesting to work out, I guess, an instructional guide to how to approach what I've come up calling troupe-style play, where players have more than one character of differing levels of importance in the campaign. I was first exposed to this written out in Ars Magica, specifically in the 3rd edition of that game. I went back and looked at earlier editions, but I played 3rd, and I own 4th and 5th, but I've never gotten to play them, of course. And I saw it re-emphasized in Wraith the Oblivion from the beginning. The interplay between the player character and its shadow is exactly this sort of thing, these other characters in the story. And in Ubiquity, of course, you see this with followers, and this was brought into sharp relief with All for One, Regime Diabolique, with the lackey characters. And if you've read Three Musketeers, you know what important characters these are, although they are, in many ways, minor characters in terms of where the story goes. But their impact is incredible. And this is re-emphasized in the new Leagues of Adventure. So even though these games are quite accessible, this aspect, this troupe-style aspect of them, is something I feel that is often forgotten or pushed into the background. When it's included, it can really make these games come to life, even Wraith. So perhaps something we could do in the future is focus on this aspect of connecting to the story beyond just the vehicle that your character provides, and explore the concept of troupe-style play. What do you say?